And we're recording. All right, so we got to hold off on the Star Wars one because, well, I didn't do it. Um, I do have my list though for what was the other one?
If you have it, you should know what it is.
Ah, there it is. Five biggest gripes about Nintendo. I don't think
Now
that's the
this
way I
is
worded it.
sounds good though. It's all time, right? Not just current. I mean, it can include current, but it's all time.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I went back a ways. I went back to
Okay.
my teenage years on at least one, all the way up to I have a current one, which we're both gonna have it.
Oh, yeah, I know
Uh,
which one it is. Well, I think we might actually have two current ones.
Well, I have more than one current one. I just know for sure we're both going to agree on
Yeah,
one. Well, not just agree, but both have it on our list.
yeah.
How many honorable mentions did you do?
I there's a couple. I didn't really count. I just wrote.
I want to let you go first then because I only have one honorable mention actually. I didn't have to, I mean, I could have got really nitpicky, but I did go with just the ones that really kind of pissed me off. And then I had
Yeah.
one honorable mention that I'm like, you know what? I get it. I'm being picky on it, but I'll explain it when I get to it.
Right. The first one I have now. I'm gonna say this because I am a sucker. But the thing that pisses me about Nintendo off is their fake limited run shit that they do. So like the Mario All Stars 3D All Stars 3 game, you better run out and get that because that's limited, and you see 7 billion of them at every Target you go to.
Well, in all fairness, it was limited. They just made twice as many as they did consoles.
Yeah, just they make it seem like it's this big. You got to get out there and get this thing.
Well, and then they made it digital too. So I actually know
Yeah,
people who bought it digital and then bought it physical and didn't open the physical thinking, "Oh, it's going to be rare," and they're going to hold on to it, which is I'm sure is what they were doing. And then they happened to pull the plug on it, I believe on the beginning of second quarter. So they
yeah.
probably wanted all their earnings in by that time. So they were trying to push it no matter what. Um,
As
but I,
long as they pull it from stores, you can still find it.
but I'm with you. I could go. I wouldn't guarantee it because I haven't looked for it, but I would not be shocked if I could go into the Target in Green Bay on the west side that never has anything in stock and find it right now.
Oh, I'm sure I could have one of the Targets around here too.
You know what? That wasn't on my list, but that's a good one. We've actually talked about
No,
that before.
I debated because is it their fault or is it ours for falling for it?
Um, I'm going to say it's our fault in this situation. And the reason why is they didn't technically lie. They just printed a crap ton of them,
But I mean, it
knowing
is.
that saying what they were going to say was going to get people to go out and buy it. But there's plenty to be bought.
But instead of saying limited, couldn't you just say, "Hey, this is the last day you're gonna be able to get it"?
Well, they did that too.
They did that with that, but they also said it was gonna be limited and all this and that, just like the Mario Kart at home thing.
I think it was misleading, but I don't know. I guess I'd rather be misled that way than the other
I
way.
guess that was my I guess that was my extra one because I wasn't sure if I was gonna put it on there because I didn't know whose fault it really was.
Well, the thing is though is I'm not
For my,
against I'm not against you. I actually think that should be one of your main ones. I agree with you. I was just then you followed it with a question though that I'm like, we create. I think collectors, because we're all collectors at a certain point. Because if you're not a collector, this what we're talking about doesn't affect you. If you are a collector, it irritates you because of the fact that you have that mentality of I got to get this. It's rare. If I'm not in line for this, I'm not going to get this.
yeah,
And that's not what happened. It, in fact, mine's still not out of cellophane.
I took mine out because I wanted to play once again, even though I hate it, Mario 64, just to make sure I hate it. And I never played Sunshine, so I was like, okay, that's new.
Well, and I want to play. I heard that game's actually really good. I
All
have
right,
so many. My backlog is ridiculous. And I buy those independent games too, and they're actually some of them are a lot of fun. So I kind of go with those too. I've got that weird shop local mentality. Well, it's not a weird. It's a good mentality. I shouldn't say it's weird. But I got that shop local mentality, which kind of falls into the programming too. And we've had this conversation before too, where there's not really any originality anymore. So you almost have to go independent if you want to have any. And
Some of that independence is just glorified cell phone games.
so some of it is, yeah, some of it is. But when you find one that's not, it's even a little
Yeah.
bit more special. No, there is. There's a lot of cell phone stuff. And it's like the stupid stories or whatever they're called I'm putting on YouTube. That's the mobile game version of our actual podcast content, in my opinion. But
It's not like,
it generates.
yeah, I mean, but it's not like you have to buy, you get that for free and then you have to pay for the regular shit. That's what cell phone games are now.
Well,
And-
that's what regular games are now.
Well, yeah, we're getting off on a topic there.
Yeah, that's
All right.
true. All right. All right. So, all right. Using the customer as a prototype tester for the Switch, and then in parentheses I put Wii U.
Oh, because yeah, clearly Wii U was a beta test for Switch.
There's no doubt in my mind. They're just like, we don't have the technology or we don't have the R&D done on it, but let's put something out there because those foolish ass collectors will buy this shit. And it did. I mean, it was a great unit. It really was. I found out I'm at that age where I had to drink some special medicine that made me empty excess weight. And I remember being all set to go, and I'm like, when this crap hits, literally, I'm going to go. And I took the medicine, and I'm sitting there. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. I'm like, well, this sucks. I guess my body can handle anything. So I texted one of my friends, Maurice, and I'm like, hey, when you had this done, how long did it take? He goes, how long did you take it to go? I go, well, I told him I go about 2 hours ago. And he said, he just types back, LOL, good luck. No longer did I read that crap. I ran to the bathroom, and I'm like, well, here we are. I had my Wii U there. I'm all pumped to go. No pun intended. And I was out of range. You had to be within range.
Of the console, right?
But I even set the console up in the living room instead of in the basement like where I am now, thinking, okay, it's going to be real close. I wasn't 15 feet away from it. But with the door shut, I mean, nobody wanted that door open. But with the door shut,
It wouldn't matter either way.
yeah, and with the hallway the way it was from where the bathroom is by the back door, it's like cutting through a couple walls at an angle. I'm like, this sucks because I didn't have my phone on me. I had nothing on me. I'm like, I have that in there. That's all I need. That was, so yeah, I was a prototype tester, and let me tell you, it failed that day. I really got personal with some of that information, but hey, we all poop. Except for women. Women don't poop. It's a little known secret right there.
Yeah, but it wasn't just you that way. I mean, I never had a Wii U. I would have liked to have gotten one, but it was just at a weird time for me. But now I want one. I can't get one for the price I want. But
Yeah.
it was very clear when I played yours up there that that's what that was. And then when I saw the Switch, like, oh, clearly this was the precursor.
Yeah, it's literally the Switch. It's like if the Wii U, if it got a divorce, it'd be the Switch and the Wii. It's like the Wii and the Switch got married. That's basically what it is. And to make it worse, the Switch got the children. Because I mean, really anything. I mean, and maybe there is. I don't know the catalog that well. Because you can buy Wii U games really cheap, actually. And I really
the games are cheap and the controllers, but the system itself is like still $200, $180.
That's the problem. And my biggest fear is, and this is kind of a flaw in design. Well, it's a prototype, I suppose. What do you expect? If you buy a unit and you go and get a screen, as far as I know, you cannot merge the two. They have to come together.
Really?
Yeah, there's no way to sync the two. They're like already set, so it's kind of a shit design. But that's not the first time.
Not for them.
Well, that's true. That's not the first time Nintendo's done that, though, which I can't say right now, but I'll bring it up when I get into there further. Okay, we talked about my crapping and that piece of crap long enough. What's your next one?
I don't know, because I was a big Super Nintendo guy. I don't remember this happening back then. This is more of a Wii but abandoning these consoles like a year after they come out, and by that I mean no AAA titles for years. So like for the Wii, you had Mario Galaxy, Mario Galaxy 2, and like a Zelda, and then after that it was shovelwares, you know, mini game stuff.
Yeah, I think
And
you
the Switch
got
has been
a
pretty much the same way.
I think you got a maker game at some point in there, but
No, that was Wii U.
you know what? We've had that conversation. I think you're right. Paper Mario?
There was a Paper Mario. There was like one of each. Like you got 2 Mario Galaxies, which was huge. You got the Zelda, and then you got um, 1 Mario Kart and 1 Mario Party, I think. But like the rest of it was just mini games, which fine, you know, in itself. But and then the Switch, you know, we went on this list at one time. There's only been 1 Mario Odyssey. The rest have been Wii U ports.
Yeah, everything.
One Zelda, and then the rest of that's been remakes or ports. So,
Well, maybe I should just jump into my next one then, because it's going to feed right off what you said.
all right.
Because like you said, there has been nothing else other than ports and a few other ones. And even ports they can't get correct. Because in my opinion, this is the one I think is going to be on your list. I got to find it here. I did prototype. Oh, here we go. How did I miss it? Starts with the F word. Fucking release the NES and SNES games already.
Oh, the Nintendo Online being bare bones garbage.
Yeah, they can't even port
That
crap
was
over.
that was on there.
It's is that one on your list?
Yep.
All right, that's the one I thought would be on your list. It blows my
I
mind.
just said Nintendo Online.
Yeah. I mean, I get that there's going to be licensing issues with certain things, but you can't tell me there's a licensing issue with everything. Just release the friggin' games already. It's none of us are dropping the $20 a year subscription. We might not fork over for the other one. I'm not going to, but I'm not dropping the 20. That's a guaranteed 20 out of me. Some people might be like, oh, 20 a year, but when you have 8 million people plus, hell, 16 million people plus doing 20 a year, that's a pretty good yearly
Even
drop.
if they would open up,
What's that?
even if they would open up the NES and the Super Nintendo to the like, it won't be the entire catalog because, like you said, licensing, but
Yeah.
95% and charge $50 a month. I think that's worth it.
$50 a month or a year?
Or a year, my bad.
Oh my God. I was going to say, I'll throw this shit away right now.
$50 a year, I meant, because it was 20 a year, right? No?
20 a year. Yeah. I think, what do I pay for PlayStation Plus? I think I pay about 50 a year for that.
Well, I upgraded to the top one because it was only like a 30 extra bucks to get it for the rest of the year.
I just, you know what? I don't even
I've
download.
already downloaded like 4 games, so it's paid for itself 3 times over. So even if I cancel it in January, I'm good.
I think you being a PS5 user will help with that. Where with mine being an Xbox user, Game Pass is probably my better choice. It already has. I mean, I do Game Pass all the time. I rarely, the only reason I ever download or at least add to my library one of the PlayStation Plus games is because something comes up in my Google feed reminding me to.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't even have a single PlayStation system hooked up. And I do got to change that. It's more of an organizational thing, but the Xbox gets played a lot. But that's probably mainly because of Game Pass.
If Nintendo Online, if they would trickle out more than 2 games every 6 to 8 months.
Oh my God. Well, in decent games. I mean, when's the last time you got excited over anything to do with what's the shit dinger system? The virtual, whatever they call it. They don't call it virtual console anymore, I don't think. But the SNES and NES.
Console was 10 times better. It's just Nintendo Online.
I don't think you're going to be able to see this. Let's see here if I flick over.
Probably the last time I got excited for something they put on was when I first got it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. You can't see this, but I have my Switch on right now, and I'm actually going to the, I'm going to go to the cloud here, or not the cloud, virtual store. There we go. I had to wait till my controller came on. Let's see. Super Nintendo. Yeah, close Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, it's such a sad thing to say. That's a beautiful game so far.
I played freaking all afternoon.
Yeah, so right now I have the Super Nintendo loading up. Let's see if there's anything new. Going to the top. You can probably hear well, maybe you can't hear it, but So the latest game I have is Kirby Avalanche. I never played a Kirby game, but from my understanding, people really like the Kirby game, so I won't give that a
Yeah,
crack.
but Kirby's Avalanche, isn't that weird one where you got to roll? You're a ball. You're like
Probably.
eating food. Yeah.
But the last few games, Fighters...
That's not.
What's that?
Oh, you're on the Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fighters History, and then you have 4 Kirby games, which I'm guessing are probably all right.
Coincided with the Kirby release that they did.
Probably, yeah. And then you got Congo's Caper. I don't know what that is. Rival Turf. Come on, really? Rival Turf?
All anybody knows about that game is that box with the 2 kids on it.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you what the hell that game is.
Nobody could. I mean, there's a few good ones on here, like Super Mario, Earthbound. So it's funny. I just watched the Angry Video Game Nerd on Earthbound, and he's ripping on it, and then he starts playing it, and he starts showing things, and he's like, "It's actually a pretty good game." And I'm watching him, like, he made me kind of want to play it, and then afterwards, I'm like, "Oh my god, it sounds like a nightmare. I don't want to play it." But that's on here. Mario Kart, all right, fine. But Baseball Simulator 1000, whatever it is, who gives a crap?
Yeah.
Doomsday Warrior.
There's that firefighter game in there or something.
Oh yeah, that's in here somewhere. Yeah.
Top Enough's in there, which again only anybody knows because of the cover.
Yeah, I mean maybe I'm just a jerk. I don't know.
Nothing in there excites me either, other than the classics, I guess.
And and that's just the Super Nintendo. What do we got for NES? Probably nothing new.
Oh, the NES one's even more pathetic.
It's been over a month since I even checked too. I don't know how.
Oh, but we got that Speedboat game on the NES, thank God.
Dava? What is that? Oh, that's some Famicom shit. Pinball? I like pinball. I don't give a crap about that. Dig Dug 2. Earthbound Beginnings? Is that a game?
I think there was like a Japan only. I think that's Mother.
It must be. I mean, I know Mother. Nightshade. No one can pronounce that crap. It's got a frog on the cover. The Immortal. All right, first of all...
I've tried playing that. I don't even know what the fuck's going on. I can't even move my character.
No, you got to play that on SNES. Or not SNES. That's a Sega game. And even on that, it sucks ass. Chrysalis. All right, whatever. Gradius. I like Gradius. Vice. Project Doom. I mean, a lot of these games are garbage. All right, I'm turning this off. I had to say everything out loud, though, for people just listening. Which, by the way, you can watch the videos on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify, and listen to them on all those, and Anchor, Google Cast, iTunes, I don't know, a bunch of other podcast ones. It automatically goes out. Yeah, that was my promo there, that.
In the middle of the video, too. That's good.
Yeah. Hey, you got to get this far to find out the good information.
You don't want this shit at the beginning or the end.
Yeah. Why would I do that? Read the description, damn it. I don't even put it in there. Yeah, so that was mine. Fucking released the NES and SNES games already.
Well, that I had on mine, too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, but you have more honorable mentions than me. Turns out I have 2 honorable mentions, but...
I had that one, because I didn't know if I was going to include it or not.
But I think that... Oh, you only had 1 honorable mention?
Yeah, just that. Well, because I didn't know how that was going to fall.
All right, then I'll go again. The Max Advantage Controller D-pad. The Max Controller, and we've talked about this before, it's kind of a boomerang design. It came out back in the original NES days, and it was a legit Nintendo item. But it had the weird D-pad with the slidey thing in the middle and the black ring around the outside. Beautiful controller, great for Metroid, especially when you had to lay the bombs and blow yourself upwards by blowing them up. And the turbo was fantastic for that, but that D-pad sucked ass. If they would have put a normal cross D-pad in that thing, it would have been great. And I paid for it with my own money. I was just a kid, so it was like babysitting money or something like that. But because I paid for it, I had to like that. You could have told me it was the biggest piece of shit, and you could have been right, and I would have told you were wrong because it was mine, and I had to justify it. That just bothered me. Even though I got used to it, because you had to depress the slider. That was the trick. You had to click it down, and then it would slide around easier. But still, at the end of the day, they were trying to do an analog with a digital device, and it sucked. Other than that, that controller was amazing. Like I put up with that D-pad because I love the rest of it. But the way I hold controllers, I get really sore holding those square ones. Like if the dog bones would have came out with the original NES, that would have been awesome.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Those did hurt.
Oh God, those points. Mine were actually worn down, but I grip controllers really hard. It's kind of a problem I have with portables. So that was that one.
You would hear it strain.
Oh God, yeah, the creak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one controller, and it was the one I used the most. It actually had white stresses on the back, and I think it was from doing that, like creaking it. But it never broke. I mean, I was pretty rough with it. All right, what do you got?
Which one are we on now?
Mention
3.
I don't know. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 left.
The 4 left? Holy shit!
Well, I had two honorable mentions.
Oh, okay. Canceling Nintendo Power.
I could see that one. I didn't continue
with the internet. Shove it up the internet's ass. I want Nintendo Power because that had the codes in it, that had all the cool shit. It had the posters. It had the comic strips in there. It was just when those came in the mail, you poured over that thing for hours, maybe days.
I remember being bummed when they ended that. Well, I should rephrase that. I remember being bummed when my subscription ended. I couldn't afford to renew it, so when it ran out, it sucked. I was lucky enough where the neighbors had it too, though, so I kind of got weaned off it. I didn't have to get cut off cold turkey. And I ended up going to Sega.
I mean, I still have all mine. I mean, they're in various states of disrepair from reading them all those times, but I just love those things.
The first one with Mario on the front, that thing, I have that here somewhere. That is so beaten the piss, it's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
But that was such a good one because it was the first one. So I think it had Metroid in it too, didn't it? Or at least some tricks to Metroid. Didn't it have the map?
Probably.
Or something.
I mean, they all had something in there. The secrets, the top secret section with all the codes and everything.
Yeah, because where everyone played Super Mario Brothers, which I did play a lot, Metroid was always my favorite. That's the one I played the crap out of. Well, then Duck Hunt, just because,
I never got into Metroid too much.
Oh,
it was too fast when I was like, oh my God, I can't even, what the hell's going on? Now I could probably play it if I went back.
Yeah, I liked it. I have tried to go back and play it, but it's always on like an emulator and then I reformat or something. Yeah. I own the cartridge. It's just sometimes it's easier. But I think there's Metroid on the Switch. I should bring it.
Was it on the mini console too?
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes I almost think they oversaturate things, and then it's just not. You're just like, whatever. It's not that big a deal anymore.
Like the original Mario Brothers, you can play it on anything, everywhere.
Oh, I think I have probably about 50 different ways of playing that in my house. Yeah. Probably 48 of them legal. It, yeah, it's ridiculous. Oh, yeah, you went. So here's one. This one, it's not a hot topic, but some people might be irritated by it. Pretending the seal actually made a quality difference on the NES.
That was on everything.
It was, yeah, and I put in parentheses LJN.
Any Nintendo game had that on it.
It was such a joke because that was their big thing because they said, well, Atari let everything on, so that's what killed the market. That's not what killed the market. Oversaturation killed the market. I'd actually stand to argue that E.T. was not the worst game if you just knew how to play it, but nobody read instructions, so, I mean, no one knew how to play it. And the fact that they had to crank it out, like I think one dude programmed that game for the Atari, like in 30
Atari
days.
Had a Halloween game and a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game.
Yeah,
I mean that's just ahead of its time.
Yeah, it was awesome. People still make games for the Atari. They got Halo on it. They got I actually have the ROM for the I think they call it Princess Quest or something, but it's basically Super Mario Brothers.
And there's more people playing Halo on Atari right now than are playing Halo Infinite. Ooh,
you're probably right. I was never the biggest Halo guy though. But yeah, that label, that was their thing. They're like, oh, if you got this, really, it was just a licensing scam that they had that certain people
it was on every box of any game.
Yeah, I think the only ones that didn't have it were the black cartridge ones and the Aladdin cartridge ones.
Yeah.
And then there was another one where you had to piggyback a cartridge on it. I can't remember the name of that one. And
A lot of
then
those Bible games, like blue cartridges, they probably didn't have it
they're
either.
not licensed either. No. In fact, I think they got sued to the point where they became Bible games because they changed the characters or something. And then they found that
Well, that
I
could
think
be.
what it was is like Sam Goody's wouldn't sell it. So they went to Christian stores because Christian stores were like, well, we'll sell it. We don't care. Because it drove customers.
Yeah.
Well, not as much as I think they were hoping, but
It's worth a shot. What the hell?
yeah, I
It's
mean,
a
they're,
market that maybe you don't want to buy your kid a Mortal Kombat. You're like, oh, there's Bible Blaster or whatever.
yeah, I mean, those games sucked ass, but they were still better than some of the LJN games out there.
And I still collect those because they're movie games.
Oh God, yeah, I'm a sucker for that crap. I would love to see an Evil Dead game made into an NES game.
Oh my god, that'd be cool.
It'd be fantastic.
I still play it more than I play the PS5 one, but that was a rant for last time.
Oh, I'm thinking of hooking my my original Xbox back up to play Regenerations. That was such a good
that's a
one.
fun one.
I think actually on the Pound Buttons channel, I actually have gameplay of it where I'm talking and stuff. And the sad part is the thumbnail I made for the video is my favorite part of the whole thing because I redid a whole bunch of stuff on it, and it's just good. But sometimes I put more work into the thumbnail than I do the actual video. Let's see. Is it me or you? I think it's you.
Is it me?
I think so, because I said
Either way.
LJN.
Okay. Oh, no. I don't know. I'm trying to decide which way I should go. I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, we're going to say them all.
The see, it's none of it exclusive to Nintendo though. The mountain of peripherals they put out.
Oh, you know what? I actually thought of writing that down, and I forgot before I got down here. I agree with you. There was too much, especially on the NES.
I remember those things they clipped on. They served no purpose. They clipped over the controller. They're like plastic.
It was the shell that went over to give you a joystick, where Sega actually had it where you just popped the middle part out and you screwed the joystick in.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it made it worse, and it made it heavier and somehow sharper on the corners.
Yeah. Well, I think they actually made it out of recycled razor blades.
I never forget the mountain of peripherals that clogged the landfills now because of the Wii.
Oh my God!
Some of those were Max, whatever those Tiger. What were those?
Oh, Mad Max? No, Mad Cats.
Yeah, Mad Cats.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff is not licensed by Nintendo, but still, they put out their fair share of stupid peripherals.
Well, even Nerf had stuff. I have some of it. I bought the lightsaber peripherals for the Jedi game, which turned out to be a giant pile of dong. I mean, talk about
Did you buy the cardboard shit that they put out?
I have that for the Switch. Yeah, I never put it together. It's still in the boxes. That was more. I bought that more for like so Shopko was going out of business.
Yeah,
And
sure.
and I actually bought. I probably would have bought it anyways. Yeah, but it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt that I got it for like 75% off. Well, that and one of them had VR in it. I really, but I like robotics and programming and stuff. So I actually really did like the lab stuff because there was one where you could make a bug and the vibration of the controller would make it go and you could control which way it went.
Again, they put it out and they're like, oh, here's the newest thing. Abandoned within a month of it coming out, just like the Wii balance board and all that other.
So for me, that would actually be more of a better argument would be, like, I agree with you. The peripherals are out of hand. But it would be the short shelf life of them. Like with the Wii balance board, why come out with a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater skateboard? I have it, but why? Use the Wii board. There's so much they could have done. Well, with the Tony Hawk one, that's a bad example because there's sensors on the side. So like when you pump your foot, it actually sees your foot, block the sensor, and come back off. But I mean...
But they made one exercise game for the damn thing, and that was it.
You know what? Yeah, no kidding. And that's the thing that it's funny because of how many people gave Xbox Connect such a hard time. At least they produce games for it. They produce some shit games for it. Don't get me wrong, but there's some fun games for the Connect. And then people just gobble up like they're just blowing their favorite prostitute. Or getting one. No disclosure on my behalf.
Trying to do the math there.
Yeah, Well, you don't know. I don't judge people's habits. But I mean, people. I mean, a new Switch thing came out. That Wii Fit board was a mother effer to find because I tried finding it. Well, and
Yeah, until it was when they had a stack of them after Christmas that one year.
oh my God, I still find going to going to any secondhand store, and if they have no games left, they will have a Wii Fit board there.
Oh yeah.
It's insane. I see them everywhere, but people just ragged on the Kinect. And I'm like, all right, don't buy the Kinect then. I get it with the Xbox One at launch, they force you to buy it for an extra $100. All right, I get that complaint. It wasn't a complaint for me because I wanted it, so I was like, all right, that's cool. But I have anyone who bought the Wii and sucked the balls of Hiroshima or whatever the hell made it. I have no Kinect sympathy for them.
Yeah, what was the other one they put out? And they just abandoned it. It was a Switch one, wasn't it?
Well, I wish they would have done something with the VR, but that was a Microsoft. That was a Nintendo Labs thing with the cardboard. Um, no, they haven't really done anything else, have they?
I mean, other than the mountain of controllers they put out.
Oh, you mean like the ones that we were talking about that I have?
Yeah, but I mean, I have two. But I mean, every time I go to the Walmart, yeah, those things. Well, yeah, you got them.
But the NES controllers actually do work well if you're playing that.
I'm playing the
those
NES game.
games, yeah.
Because you don't like any of them on there.
It's got Joust. And it's got Joust. Wait, I said that already.
And Joust.
I'm a big fan of Joust, though. I feel like the Switch did come out with some... Well, the old LED version that doesn't fit your current dock. That kind of pisses me off. Make your shit work. Of course, you know what? I'll give them credit for one thing, though. They're usually backwards compatible at least once. Like, you go DS, and then you go with the DS... What was it? You went DS, then you went DSi? Or something? There was something, but each one, I think, was one system, one version back compatible.
What was that one that was stupid one that didn't fold?
The 2DS?
Yeah, it was the 2DS. It didn't fold. It was just one big block.
That's the only DS I don't own. Which is funny because that DS, if you take the shell off the top of it, it's one screen. They programmed one screen to do two different screens. So in theory, it should be a touchscreen on the top and bottom, unless they put a separate digitizer on the bottom. But yeah, I never.
I'll take it apart.
They're not that cheap. They're not the most expensive, but they're not that cheap. But I prefer my clamshell DS, 2DS. That thing's friggin' awesome. I mean, I mainly use my 3DS just because I got a special handle for it because I do grip. Even with the portables, I grip so badly that I hit my pinkies are always at the bottom of the controller, and I hit the power button shutting games off in the middle of it, and it pisses me off. So I got that grip that keeps my pinkies from doing that. Wow, we got sidetracked there. Where were we?
It's all still Nintendo stuff, though.
Oh, that's true. I still have 3 left.
You should probably go then. I don't...
All right. This one irritated the fuck out of me, and it was because of the Transformers game that came out that was actually really good, but it sucked because of the Magic Harry Water Pond fan nunchuck things you had to use. So my complaint is not having a sit-down controller feature from the start with the Wiis. They eventually went to it, but it should have been something from the start, in my opinion. And if somebody wanted to make a game that didn't use it, that's fine. But there's no way that Transformers game would not have been created with sit-down abilities otherwise, because that game sucks balls with the one.
So you watch you play that, yeah, you couldn't control it.
Oh my, no, just a little fit. I mean, maybe the sensitivity could be turned down, but god damn, you just twitched a little bit and the Bumblebee snapped his head off.
Spoiler.
Oh yeah, if you haven't played it yet, trust me, you'll be happy you're dead. Yeah, so there's not much more to say than that. I should probably tab that in so I don't read it again.
Since you have all those left.
How many do you have left?
None. That was all 5 I had.
All right.
I guess someone wasn't even mentioned. There's the 5th one. We didn't really put a number on this one. We just kind of said go for it.
So this one is kind of like it's not quite an end of life thing, like a short lifespan, even though it was a short lifespan. But then in this one, I have two left. I'll save the one I don't care about the most for last. The Nintendo GBA adapter for GameCube. Love the idea. I really like GBA games. I was a huge fan. And I remember getting my first Game Boy Advance at no backlight screen, white case, some Matthew guy's name written in the back battery compartment, used at Suncoast. I was so pumped. And I got some BMX bike game, played the shit out of it, even though I really didn't like the game. That's what I had with some other games. And I had a bunch of Game Boy games already, so it was awesome. Those worked with it. And I loved that thing. So I wanted, when the GameCube came out and you could get that adapter for the bottom, every time I was going to buy it, because I always looked used. I worked at Sears at the time, didn't have any money. Everyone's like, oh yeah, but I don't have the disc. I'm like, well, do you need the disc? And they're like, yeah. I go, well, I can probably download and burn it. And they're like, nope, you can't. To this day, I don't know if you can download and burn that disc. Now, I do think there is a disc you can buy or download now that you can put in there that actually runs its own operating system that lets you do other things and play Game Boy games or Game Boy Advance games. But it pissed me off that Nintendo made this awesome device that went on their damn system, and then they made this little tiny 3-inch disc that fucks your whole world up if you don't have it. Because you can go to tons of game stores and buy the Game Boy Advance adapter that plugs underneath.
Yeah.
But they don't have the damn disc. And if it does have the disc, oh, good luck. I already sold my left testicle for freaking micro. I can't afford the other testicle.
Well, it's like we said before in the Switch dock. There's plenty of space on there for a DS compartment.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, yeah, just make a new dock or something. Shit, sell a different dock for each one. Don't do that, but...
They just wrote that down for the Switch, too.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to sell docks like
Or
crazy.
hell, on the Switch itself. I mean, those DS games were thin as crackers. You put that in there.
Well, think about who's the company doing that? Polymega. They have that system that you can unsnap the one part, snap in the other part, and you have a full console for that gaming system. Why can't they do that crap with the Nintendo? I would buy that crap. It's kind of like the Retro 2 where I can plug it into my computer, or the, I don't even know what the frick the thing's called. I used to, but I don't even know where it is here. Oh, here we go. To the people who can't see what's going on, I have this device here that'll do Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, and it's just and it uses real cartridges, and it plugs into my computer. And I actually surprisingly have the son of a bitch. I actually got the manual to it. It's called the Epilogue, and it's awesome. It works. You got to use its custom software. It's not like It's not like the Retro 2 where I plug in a Super Nintendo game or a Genesis game, and it's just a ROM file on the computer, and I can use any emulator. That one does require you to use the software, but it's a Game Boy Advance game. It doesn't take much to run it, so it runs fine. And you can back up the ROM anyway, so not that you should do that. But it's awesome. I can use my regular cartridges on my computer. Computers are so damn powerful now. They can run anything. Because personally, I'm not one of those people like, I got to have the scan lines in there. No, screw that. Fill the scan lines in. I want it crystal clear. I don't do the smoothing just because that fucks things up sometimes. But yeah, so that was my bitch, is the GB adapter. My last one you didn't have, because I know, because you're done with yours. But I think you might agree with it. The pricing for the Sega and the N64, they want to charge you more to get those when they've already proven to us they don't release shit.
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to release everything you have, and maybe down the road release stuff you get a license for, I would maybe pay them more money. But
I don't know why they think they're afraid of losing people, but that's not the way it's going to be.
Nintendo people aren't going anywhere. I don't even touch the Switch other than Cowabunga Edition, which don't get me started on the fact there was an effing download as soon as I plugged it in. Oh, I was pissed. I don't know what the download was. It could be nothing. And it said it was going to let me play without it, but I downloaded it anyways. I should have looked closer. Man, nothing pisses me off more than putting a cartridge in and saying, hey, we got to download some shit for you here. No.
Sit back. Wait, no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Sega one I can understand because that is probably leased to them in a way. Like
Yeah.
they can't control what comes on for that one.
That one might
But
be tougher, yeah.
164 and the Super Nintendo, yeah, you got full control. Why isn't Game Boy on there?
Yeah, no kidding. And let's face it, the N64, and this is going to piss people off. I know you'll agree with me, but this will piss people off.
Yeah.
Wasn't that good a system?
No, this is probably their worst system, and I'll stand by that.
I mean, at the time when it came out, having the polygons be 3D and stuff, it wasn't cutting edge. I mean, PCs were doing it and stuff like that. I mean, but it was pretty awesome for a month.
It was the worst system. The controllers suck. The games are terrible.
Yeah, I would have rather had I did have a Dreamcast, but
And I think when did PlayStation come out? Not long after that, right?
no. Well, the Dreamcast came out, and then the PlayStation came out after the Dreamcast, and then they came out with another PlayStation that a lot of people don't know about, because the Dreamcast and the Xbox actually both were much better than the PlayStation, but the PlayStation had DVD capability. The Xbox did too, but you had to have a adapter, unless you modified yours. Like I modified mine so I could do it. But but the PlayStation did come out with another version that later its graphics were capable of more than the Dreamcast then. I don't think it ever beat the Xbox, but they had their foot in the door so well with the PlayStation. I mean, they came out, when you think about it, Sony came out of nowhere. They came
PlayStation.
Yeah, they came out with a device that looked an awful lot like a Nintendo. Because if you go back and look at the original PlayStation, its color is the Nintendo's gray. Within a year, they changed that gray. All the grays are not the same.
And it became white after a while.
Yeah, but I mean, that was pretty smart, actually.
I still remember going to Toys R Us. Welcome to the Wayback Machine, folks. And they had that aisle where you had to grab the slips.
Oh, yeah.
And take it. Well, they had all the systems set up on the aisles. And then the first time I saw PlayStation, Ballerina Toshinden was on. This is before the PlayStation came out. And I'm walking towards the Nintendo games, and that thing just blew my mind.
Yeah, that thing was awesome. I mean, there was nothing. Sega Saturn was the only thing close to it, but U.S. and, I mean, that wasn't even a marketing thing. That was just the U.S. and Japan being dumbasses where they fought over the 32X and the Saturn, and it never got a proper good release.
Well, the Saturn was more popular than the Sega CD, right? I mean, they both were kicked to the curb pretty quickly for the Dreamcast.
Well, the Sega Saturn, when it came out, a lot of the clientele in the U.S. were kind of like, well, you made me buy this 32X. You made me buy the Sega CD. And now you're coming out with a Saturn. I'm not touching that shit. It's I think that scorned a lot of people. You had to be a pretty big Sega fan to put up with that, which I was. I had the video store, so I had both systems anyways. But I remember...
part of the draw was you're building like Megazord of Genesis.
Well, I think that draw came later. I have it though, somewhere around here. But one of the reasons I was a big fan of the Saturn is like release day had like Resident Evil, Panzer Dragoon, which actually I didn't care about that, but a lot of people did like that one.
Like the Time Bandits too with the gun.
It might have. I don't remember that one. It might have had that. I did not have the guns. But it had Resident Evil. That was back then. That was huge on Saturn, which then they had it on PlayStation also. But I still to this day, I always said when we got the PlayStation, I'm like, this looks a lot like a Nintendo. And then it wasn't until years later that you found out that the PlayStation was supposed to be a Nintendo. So it's I don't know. I think Sony. It's weird to think, but Sony's only 5 generations in, where the rest of them, well, not Microsoft, but the rest of them are like, what, 7 generations in now? Because the Famicom, even though Famicom and NES are both 8-bit, Famicon's really kind of like its first generation.
Yeah.
It kind of like the Sega Master System. It had a Japanese version too, like the 1000 or something like that. I don't even know what it is.
Probably like 8 or 9 gens, and then for Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, that was
a Nintendo Bitch Fest, yes.
That was a Nintendo Bitch Fest.
But a lot of what we said could apply to the other ones too.
Well, that's true. That's true. You know what? Let's end this one and let's bitch about Sega for a while.
Eh.
All right. Where's my stop?